Stand by. The program will begin soon. I don't know why I'm talking about this. During World War II, we sent 90 million pounds of spam just to the Russians alone. I mean, we sent it all over the world. Our troops, especially in the Pacific Theater, ate it. That was basically what they ate all the time. 90 million pounds to the Russians. Apparently in like the 50s, Nikita Khrushchev said, you know, if they hadn't sent us all this spam, they might not have been able to feed their troops during World War II. So a little weird canned kind of ham pork product, canned meat, may have won World War II. And the Fed is trending on X. And I wasn't sure why, and I'm still not 100% sure why, although part of it is because of this building that they're renovating. They're supposed to be renovating at one of the buildings at the Fed, right? And the other day, Donald Trump came out there with Jerome Powell, and they're talking about how the renovation of the building was kind of a little bit over budget, okay? First of all, the numbers on this are crazy. They wanted $2.something billion to renovate a building at the Fed. $2.1 billion. Well, this is $2.5 billion. But they're over budget by over $1 billion for one building. They're over budget over $1 billion for one building. $1 billion friggin' dollars for one building. This isn't even for building a new building. It's for renovating a building. What the actual F are they doing? If after a night of filling your rectum with vodka from a turkey baster, the cops find you changing a flat in the cereal aisle of a Piggly Wiggly and ask how much you've had to drink, and you say nothing, are you lying? Well, no. Now, if they had been asking, have you been injecting? You'd have to say yes, but they said, have you been drinking? Well, no, absolutely. Yeah, Lord Stanhope, absolutely not. In fact, you all can try to answer these questions. Stand by. The program will begin soon. A WNBA game got stopped in the middle of the game because one of the players lost their wig while they're playing, and they had to run off. And then some fan made fun of the player, and they had to run. And they kicked the fan out for making fun of a player losing the weave. Not a weave, it was a wig. Losing their wig. They had to have a timeout for the wig, a wig emergency. Which I'm like, why the F are you wearing a wig while you're playing basketball? But then yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, a game had to be stopped briefly because someone threw a big old green dildo on the floor. Someone threw a dildo out on the floor, out of the court. They had to stop the game. I don't know if they caught the person who sent the dildo, but the green dildo was on the court, and a large number of the players had no idea what to do with something of that shape, but that's okay. It happened, and then someone made this t-shirt or this meme, pay us what you owe us, which has a dildo on it. So that was fun. Hey, you know what the really good interrupt violence through community-based bystander training? Yeah, if the bystanders beat the fuck out of someone who's attacking somebody else, that would be great bystander training. They could send them to the MMA gym, you know, put them in an arm bar, smack them in the face a few times. Stop doing that bullshit. That would be the best community-based bystander training, but I don't think that's what it means. Anyway. And then the other one, they'll go back all the way to Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof's the other one, which, does anyone, okay, let me ask you something. A lot of you are right-leaning on the right. Is there anybody in this that you, anyone you know of? Is there anyone that you know of on the right who supports or supported Dylan Roof? Because I know everyone I can think of who's like, Dylan Roof, fuck that guy. He went out and murdered people in a church. Fuck that guy. But the left is like, oh, he was a right-wing extremist. Nah, he's a fucking asshole. Fuck that guy. Yeah, fuck Dylan Roof. Nobody gives a shit about Dylan Roof. Nobody claims him. Nobody wants him. He's an asshole. Okay? He's a little punk bitch asshole who killed a bunch of people in the church. Stand by. The program will begin soon. Reverend Robin Bartlett of First Church of Sterling, Massachusetts, uses John 1:14 of the Bible to justify why she brings her 11-year-old son to drag shows. This is what we're getting in the Rainbow Church. The Rainbow Church aren't exactly hiding. That's true. The Word became flesh and lived among us, and my body, your body, their bodies are home for the living God. That is why I take my 11-year-old boy to drag shows in the summer with my friend and fellow church leaders, Kate, and her 11-year-old boy. Especially if you're a man, bodies can be celebrated and played with. That's her message. What the fuck? California wants to let someone that is not related to your child remove her from school, him or her, enroll her in any other school in the state, authorize any medical treatment, including mental health services and drugs, without the parent's notice and knowledge or consent. Can you see where that might be a problem? This is not fear-mongering. I'm not being hyperbolic, she warned. These are unintended consequences, and it is terrifying. They are unconscionable or unavoidable. So that's one really bad California law that they're coming with. I can't believe. I'm just dumbfounded that they're doing it. Now this is interesting. That new mayor candidate, the leading Democratic mayor candidate for New York City mayor, Damme, wants cops to stop responding to attacks on Jews. And by the way, Jews in New York City are victims of the majority of hate crimes. Not a plurality, but the majority of hate crimes against people in New York are against Jewish people. And you know, especially the religious hate crimes. Anyway, 345 hate crimes in New York City last year, more than all other minority groups combined, according to the New York Police Department data. Anti-Jewish crimes accounted for 54% of the 641 total hate crimes reported to police in the city in 2024. Since the beginning of the year, 60% of the 123 recorded hate crimes have targeted Jews, according to the New York Police Department. Well, Zohran Mamdani, the radical Islamist and leftist terrorist supporter, has proposed that New York Police Department not respond to hate crimes, instead that they be handled by social workers. Either this shifts resources away from responding to attacks on Jews and moves away from having law enforcement deal with those attacks, and instead has its political leftist allies deal with them by burying them. Show. If I put something on the screen, or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to. I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
Well. I made it back safely from Chicago. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel, where I had some great food in Chicago. I had a good time. Went to see the Bean, went to the Navy Pier. Mother-in-law had a great time. Went to a couple of jazz clubs. It was fabulous and safe, as Brian Krasenstein would tell you, because we stuck to all the safe neighborhoods in Chicago, places where the tourists go, and there's plenty of police presence and all that stuff. So welcome to the show. It is Monday, the 8th of September, 2025. And lots of people doing the notification things. I got a bunch of notifications here. Thanks to people sharing the show. Let's see. It's a bevy of participation today. Looks like, we'll get to that in a second. Thanks for being here. I am happy to be back. Like I said, I had a great trip. And even got to see a little nature along the way. I'll detail that on my other channels. Well, my other channel, Marty's Big Journey. If you're not subscribed to that, go check that out, because I'm posting just little clips and stuff there, which I'll be doing all week. And I got to get caught up on some of the travel video that I've taken. I've taken so much that I've kind of sloughed off on that, because I've been focusing on a lot of other things, trying to make some money on doing my little furniture flipping deal that I do and all the other kinds of stuff I do. So anyway, I am happy you are here. First in the chat today, of course, on par with the norm, Mr. Avocados Diablo gets the bell. Yes. Is that all? Good God. Okay, there you go. Y'all are paying attention. And his theme music, which also represents everything dramatic on this show. Also, good morning, Resolute Germ. What's up? Renee Mayette. You doing? Blue Eyed Scream. What's up? Let's see. Non 1, 2, 3. Hey, I'm going to start calling you former cheerleader Anon 1, 2, 3, because we're fellow former cheerleaders. Also, good morning, Patty O Furniture. Welcome back. It's been a minute. Good morning, Wheezy McBlunt and Blowin, aka JB. Also, Green Badger Outdoors. Rod Line, football time. Bears, Minnesota tonight on Monday night. Yes, it is. That's tonight. And are the Bears going to be any better this year? Maybe, I don't know. But who knows what going on with the Vikings? They had a weird preseason. Also, with the inspiring message of hope, yes, it is none other than Pope Tyrannius III, the blessed lich, blessed of the sacred dead. Today he gave you sunshine and rain. That way we appreciate the sunshine. Indeed, the same goes for happiness and sadness. We may appreciate the happy moments more. So there you go. That's our message of hope from the Pope. And when I read the sunshine and rain thing, all I could think of was James Taylor. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you, baby, one more time again. That's a great song. I love that song. Anyway, there's my singing moment. Good morning, Woo, my friend from high school, now at studios in the house. Good morning, Peter. Finally, we Jews are in the majority for hate crimes in New York City. What do we win? Well, it's not finally. And no, that's a very problematic thing. And oh, Mom Donnie thinks they shouldn't be investigating him. So I don't know. Also, good morning, Simic, whichever you prefer, whichever language you're speaking, Simic Magic. Lua is in the house today, and I'm saying it. And there's Bookworm Attic. I threw that in. Old School Pete, who's that? That's is this Pete? Like from way back in the day? That sea creature should never have been out a cage long enough to harm. No, that's for damn truth. Also, good morning, Annalyn, Attack Alpaca, and that looks like, and Lord Stanhope's made it. Good morning, sir. All right. Did I say Blue-Eyed Scream too? I think so, but I'm saying it twice if I didn't. There you go. So that's everyone who I can see so far. If you pop into the chat and say something, I will say hi to you. I promise. I'll try to make sure I see it. And believe me, if someone shows up and I don't say hi to them, the rest of my people will remind them. So anyway, hit the like button. Oh, that like ratio is terrible though. 28 people and 7 likes. There should be at least 25 by now. Let's get that up to a 90%. And if you want to sponsor the show, Johnny Boomer Tech will show you how in the chat. The best way is Streamlabs or YouTube Super Chats. I appreciate those. Not required. This is a free show, but it does keep the lights on. So thank you for people who are able to supply this show with revenue. All right, let's get it going. So this is awful. We're going to get to that. That's kind of that is the main topic. What's interesting is that happened 2 weeks ago. And there's so many weird things about it that when I say the perfect storm, you would think they could have been everywhere, but it took 2 weeks for that to actually become even a trending topic. Not it's just a national. It hasn't been a national story yet, although it may be because. Well, I'll tell you in a minute. I'll tell you later. I gotta go with the regular beginning stuff. Let people get here first. So, wait, Marty. You still have to sing happy birthday to my cat. Wait a minute. I have to, I was going to make a bad joke. But anyway, what's your cat's name, Wheezy, a.k.a. JB? If you can tell me your cat's name, I'll sing the birthday song, you know? All right, let's get into the show, though, because that's some silly shit. By the way, if people share the show, appreciate y'all. Starting with... none other than Green Badger Outdoors. There we go with the big, is that a B-2 or B-1 bomber? That's a big ass plane, whatever that is. Also, Green Badger Outdoor with the Daily Wrestler. This time the Big Boss Man. And I know the Big Boss Man because I have met the Big Boss Man face to face. And they always listed him as like 6'5" tall. And no, the dude first of all, his boots had like a 2-inch sole on them. And I stood face to face with him when he came into the arena because he came up. And for some reason, this was at a live show in Des Moines. The only wrestling live show I ever went to. And he was huge at the time as far as not, he was becoming, they're trying to put him over. And as he came to the arena, he walked right by me, and I'm near the post, and he walks right up to me and looks at me in my face. And they keep saying that he's like 6'5", 6'6". I'm 6'4", and he barely came up to my forehead. He was wearing these big old boots too. So they exaggerate the size and stature of these wrestlers, if you hadn't noticed. But anyway, so that was my what is it? Brush with fame with the Big Boss Man. I've certainly met more impressive people than the Big Boss Man, but that is one of the many celebrity types I've met in my life. I've met many. I actually ate lunch with Dorothy Hamill and Ty Babylonia one time. Think about that. Remember Ty Babylonia and Randy Garner? And Dorothy Hamill, America's Sweetheart. I ate lunch with him. Dorothy was engaged. She had a rock about as big as this butter packet. And why do I have a butter packet? Because my wife bought me a really beautiful caramel roll that I ate for breakfast this morning before she left Chicago. Anyway, let's not talk about my celebrity brushes. I've had several. Anyway, all right. Let's also thank you, CG, with the little office. Let's go. Awesome. A little Snoop from JB. What's up? My wife's favorite artist. And link in description, aka Somnambule Nation, tweeting out the show as always. Tyre Alexander with the daily woo. Thank you. And another. It's like Wrestler Day. She's been trending. Let's go. What is isn't it her birthday today or something? What is her name? What's this wrestler's name? And why is she trending? Is she trending because of her birthday, or is she trending for some other reason? I don't know her name. Somebody has to know her name. But did she have the haircut? Oh yeah, she still had the haircut. In fact, it was at she's talking about Dorothy Hamill. Yeah, Dorothy Hamill had the haircut still because this was in 1987. She was doing a demo. We were at Jane Byrne Arena at the Meadowlands, doing this kind of sports salute. This was when they redid the Statue of Liberty. They refurbished it and whatever, and then they had this big celebration in New York City. And I got to be a part of it because they brought in some of the top cheerleaders from around the country. We did this big demo live on ABC TV, and then they did skating demos, and they did Mike Tyson. I've had lunch with Mike Tyson before too. That was just before he became champ. He did a little couple round sparring demo, whatever. But yeah, she had the haircut, absolutely had the haircut, and Ty Babylonia, she's a fine individual. I'm just saying. So anyway, who is this wrestler though? AJ Lee, she's back to wrestling. Okay, I'm not familiar with the ladies of wrestling these days, although they've become very popular. They've been very popular. I just don't follow wrestling anymore because I'm. Okay, I'm not going to say that. That would be mean. I do enjoy. I still do enjoy watching it occasionally, but I don't follow wrestling anymore. So there you go. And I personally. I'm going to be, I don't know if this is going to sound sexist or not, but the ladies wrestling is, it's a little over the top. The acrobatics is fine and stuff, but it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like watching the WNBA, unless they have a really good storyline. But they do find some young, attractive females to do that shit. And a bunch of stunt women. And then some of them dress up weirdo. The one, who's the really weird goth one? I don't know any of this stuff. Anyway. All right, enough about wrestling. Good Lord, Marty. Moving on. The holiday today. Now, I had several truths from, but this one's near and dear to my heart. Okay, this holiday. Why is that? That should be 0. What's going on with the? Here, let me change the stream labels. There is no superstar sponsor today so far. Today's holiday is near and dear to my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Star Trek Day, and yes, I wouldn't say that I'm a Star Trek nerd, so to speak, but the reason this holiday is near and dear to my heart is when I was young, I never needed anyone. Oh, wait, no, that's a song. When I was young, probably from 12 all the way through high school, in Omaha, Star Trek reruns were played at 10:30 at night after the local news. For years. And remember, you got to remember, Star Trek only had 3 seasons. The original Star Trek, Shatner and McCoy, Nimoy and all those guys. The original Star Trek, they only had 3 seasons. But for at least 7-8 years, Star Trek reruns every night, 10:30, channel after the night show. Maybe I don't remember. Anyway, and in the summers, I would watch Star Trek with my mom every night. We loved the show. We saw every episode probably 10, 15 times. We probably should have known the lines, but we've seen them so many times. But I loved it. And that was just a great memory with my mother. So Star Trek Day is near and dear to my heart. There's been, by the way, today is 59 years of Star Trek. The original series started 59 years ago today. 14 movies, 12 different TV series. I didn't realize there was 12 Star Trek TV series, like different TV series. That's crazy. So anyway, 59 years later, 14 movies and 12 TV shows later, Star Trek has boldly gone where no one has gone before. And certainly inspiration for lots of other sci-fi space adventures. Or not the original Space Adventure, but definitely the coolest, especially in rerun form. Because when it was actually on the air, it wasn't all that popular. That's why it only lasted 3 seasons. But the reruns, holy smokes, just was a phenomenon. And I really enjoyed it. So there you go. Happy Star Trek Day to everybody enjoying Star Trek Day. Other holidays today. It's National David Day. If your name is David, well, I don't care if these name days, because they never have a day for me. I'm just saying. It is Star Trek Day. It's World Literacy Day. So if you go to high school in Chicago or Los Angeles, well, sorry, you probably can't even read it to know that it's World Literacy Day. National Dog Walker Appreciation Day, International Literacy Day. So it's not only World Literacy Day, but it's also International Literacy Day. And international is a bigger word that some of you who can't read. National Iguana Awareness Day. If you're not aware of iguanas, they exist. World Physical Therapy Day. That's a good thing. Physical therapy is important, especially if you have surgeries and the doctors say, hey, go to your physical therapist and you'll recover faster. Listen to your doctor, because it truly does help, especially when you have a hip replaced. From experience. Actors Day. What? Who cares? Pitru Pashka Day. Imagine yourself in profound rituals of Pitru Pashka. Time for honoring ancestors and embracing our deepest traditional roots. I have no idea what country that's from, but it looks like they make little pyramids of rice for it. National Boss and Employee Exchange Day. Swap roles on the National Boss and Employee Exchange Day. I wish I'd have known that this morning. Holy moly. And it's also Pardon Day. Let go of grudges and forgive those who have wronged you. It's the perfect day for a fresh start. So it's a day of forgiveness for those who are into forgiving people. I prefer to hold grudges. All right, let's move on. Okay, I'm just kidding. Celebrity Birthday Day. Now, I was going to highlight Bernie Sanders' birthday. Today is Senator Bernie Sanders' 84th birthday. He's the same age as my mother-in-law, who we took to Chicago for her birthday. I'll have more, like I said, I'm going to put more Chicago stuff on my other channel. Although I think I did some, I did, story clips and my PDawgKnight Instagram if you follow me there. By the way, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on YouTube, follow me on, well, you're following me on YouTube, follow me on Threads, and what's the other one? Instagram and TikTok, all at PDawgKnight. Same thing, same guy. If you're in any of those things, you can find me there. Anyway, it's Bernie Sanders' birthday, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be bipartisan. If it's Bernie Sanders is a big name, not a super fan of Bernie Sanders. I think he's wrong all the time. But anyway, I was gonna celebrate Bernie Sanders' birthday, and then I saw this clip, and now listen to this clip of Bernie Sanders talking about, well, you'll get it. You'll understand why I'm going to withdraw my Bernie Sanders happy birthday. Here we go.
I don't tolerate bullshit terribly well. And I come from a different background than a lot of other people who run the country. I'm not good at backslapping. I'm not good at pleasantries. If you have your birthday, I'm not going to call you up to congratulate you.
What?
So you love me and you write nice things about me.
What?
That's not what I do. Never have. And I take that as a little bit of a criticism, self-criticism. I've been amazed at how many people respond to, happy birthday. Oh, Bernie, thanks so much for calling. It works.
Okay, fuck you, Bernie. You don't get a happy birthday for me now because you just blew it. So forget Bernie Sanders. Let's have a real celebrity birthday. Someone we can all embrace and say, what a lovely person. Now, it's posthumous, but today is also the great Patsy Cline's birthday. Crazy for feeling so lonely. It's Patsy Cline's birthday. Yeah, you got who doesn't like Patsy Cline? I mean, unless you never heard of her. But that song is it's a classic. She's the classic Patsy Cline singer, songwriter. And here, I'll just play the first line. Here.
Crazy. I'm
Crazy for feeling so lonely. What do you mean, who's Patsy Cline? What's wrong with you, Tyre? That's Patsy Cline right there. Patsy fucking Cline. Happy birthday, Patsy Cline. Born on this day in 1932 in Winchester, Virginia, was Patsy Cline. She died in 1963 at the height of her career. She was one of the most acclaimed female vocalists of the 20th century. In 1973, she became the first female solo artist inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Happy birthday, Patsy Cline. All right, let's move on to some newsy stuff. Oh, wait. One more entertainment thing before I get into some, two entertainment things. One's entertainment, one's sports, and not necessarily sports related, but it's sports related. First, last night was the Video Music Awards. Has anyone been around? I'm sure many of you have been around long enough to remember the first time they did the Video Music Awards on MTV. It was just a goofy show. It was irreverent. It was fun. And now it's just turned into those. Oh, good point. Now it's studios. Patsy sang Crazy, and Bernie is. Yes. yes, exactly. Anyway, the Video Music Awards were last night. The VMIs. Yes. And yes, they still happen. But they've become all serious and shit. They're not fun. It's just an excuse to have some performances on and someone for MTV to give music awards. However, oh, this is funny. So Hilaria Bryden is this it's a parody account of a liberal. And see, Lady Gaga won the Artist of the Year award on the VMAs, the Video Music Awards, which used to be part of MTV and VH1. I don't know who does it anymore. I think they both do. But anyway, this is funny. Valeria writes, Liza Minnelli wins Artist of the Year because she's looking like Liza Minnelli in that picture, isn't she? Anyway, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to play Lady Gaga's speech for winning the Artist of the Year on the Video Music Awards. Now, normally, I don't care about this at all. But I got to tell you. Well, I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me about this speech, okay? And it's a little longer. Oh, she does look like Dale Bozio too. Yeah, from what's that song? Missing Person. She kind of looks like her too. Anyway, listen. Tell me what you think is significant about Lady Gaga's speech. And it's 2 minutes and 39 seconds long, but I'm playing the whole fucking thing. And we'll see. Oh, we're going to play it. Listen. Oh, she looks like Marilyn Manson too. Oh my God. She looks like everybody. She's the woman of 1,000 faces. Anyway, here is Lady Gaga's speech from the Video Music Awards. Listen.
I brought this just in case I ripped it. I'm getting ready for the show. I thought how much it would mean to me to win this award tonight. And I cannot begin to tell you what this means to me. I thought about...
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at what Lady Gaga just said. I just read Lord Stanhope's comment about Lady Gaga. If you're not paying attention to the chat, Lady Gaga is starting to resemble Marilyn Monroe. That's fucked up. That's dark. Oh my God. Anyway, so the speech.
What it means to be rewarded for being an artist.
Oh, Manson. No. Oh, well, either one. Yeah, Manson. But when I said Marilyn Monroe, when I read it as someone who's been decaying for years. Anyway, yeah, Marilyn Manson too. Okay, both work. Both are funny. Anyway, back to the speech. So this speech is important. This speech is important. I'm telling you. Listen to the speech.
Being rewarded for something that is already so rewarding. Being an artist is an attempt to connect the souls of people all over the world. Being an artist is a discipline, a craft meant for reaching into someone's heart.
Listen carefully.
Where it grows its roots and reminding them to dream. Being an artist is a responsibility to make the audience smile, dance, cry, release at any turn. It is a method of building understanding.
Listen carefully. Seriously. Special Ken Asset, good morning. Welcome to the show. On my honorable mention list of favorite Canadians. Listen.
Community. I I hope as you navigate through the mayhem of daily life, you are reminded of the importance of the art of your life, that you can count on yourself and your simple skills to keep you whole. Your rehearsal, your discipline, your craft deserves to be rewarded for its passion. The way you move through your life is iconic and rare. It is entirely yours.
I'm telling you, listen, wait for
I
it.
dedicate this award to the audience. You very much deserve a stage to shine on, and I give you all my applause. Thank you, Little Monsters, my fans.
Little Monsters is the nickname for Lady Gaga fans. She's not being derogatory at all. Listen.
For always supporting me and always supporting the monster in me.
Good morning, Midnight
And
Exile, by the way.
to my partner in all things, Michael. Creating this year with you was a beautiful, beautiful dream. And you have been my partner every step of the way. I dedicate this to you too, my love. I wish I could stay and watch all these amazing performances, but I have to go back to Madison Square Garden. Love you. Thank you.
What is significant about that speech? I don't think she's being pretentious at all. I think she was genuinely celebrating the audience and thanking them. But nope, not partner. No. You're starting to figure it out, aren't you? You have no idea why. You have no idea why I wanted you to watch that speech. What was missing? Lady Gaga was never hot. Not a hint of politics. I found that refreshing. She was somewhat contrite. She was thanking her audience. She gave them credit. She gave them ideas for making their lives better. She left out politics, partner, whatever. But that's her business partner. That's not her dude. She's not dating Michael. Michael's her business partner. I was waiting to find the bullshit in the speech, and there was none. She did what? Does she usually get political though? I don't know. She's not a great speaker, no, I know, but still, I found it refreshing that she did not do anything political. She adds little political quips in there usually. Sound like socialist propaganda to me. No, she didn't. Then she went back to Madison Square Garden and did some performance or whatever. So anyway, I didn't watch the performance, but the speech was like, okay, yeah, she did stump for Biden in 2020. And no political bullshit in her speech. So anyway, congratulations, Lady Gaga, for not being an asshat and realizing maybe some of your fans may not have the same political views as you. So there you go. All right, moving on. In other entertainment news and sports, apparently Donald Trump went to the U.S. Open, and there was some boos and there was some cheers. It's interesting because several people have posted this, and some people are saying that Donald Trump was cheered at the U.S. Open tennis tournament, and some were booing him. Here he signed someone's hat and gave it to him, whatever. Oh, he's signing hats and handing them out, and people are actually getting them. There's people looking for him, so there you go. So anyway, there's that. Lots of people posting that, paid off Democratic influencers trying to make you believe the crowd at the U.S. Open was anti-Trump. Trump proved them wrong and even walked out and signed hats for screaming fans. On the other, leftist narrative is destroyed. Well, some people were saying, oh, he was booed. Why don't anyone's head explode? But the King of Queens is back. Okay, there's lots of people posting about him handing out hats. Some people, oh, here it is. This one says the entire crowd boos. So they got one person who took their own video and booed very loudly to make it sound like they booed him. Here it is. See, now wait, before you even hear the people filming booing, listen to the crowd. Some booing, some cheering. So what you expect, I don't care what president is. I would probably boo him if they put him in a sporting event, just because I'm one of those guys that'll boo anybody. But some are like, oh, he was booed relentlessly. Well, let's see. This is from another angle, probably from somebody taking their own video. Mixture of cheers and boos, okay? No big deal. Half the country likes him, half the country hates him, half the country, or the other half, that's three halves. Never mind, that doesn't work. Silly me. So that was trending about him being booed. Also, let's see what else. Oh, also speaking of the Donald, he's launching an America Praise for the 250th anniversary Unity. President Donald Trump. Now this is weird because this is Grok does these summaries, and they make mistakes all the time. In fact, it says down here at the bottom, right there at the bottom, right there. See that right there? It says this story is a summary of posts on X and may evolve over time. Grok can make mistakes, verify its outputs. Okay, so these are Grok generated headlines and stories that they get from people posting about it. And the first line, hello, number one, the first line of this says, former President Donald Trump launched the America Praise Initiative at the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. So we can find the mistake immediately. Former President Donald Trump, no, he's still the president, calling on Americans to dedicate time each week to pray for national unity as the country approaches its 250th anniversary in 2026. Tying the efforts to themes of faith and patriotism, Trump emphasized prayer as a way to renew the nation's spiritual foundation and bridge divides, building on its history of blending religion with public life. Really? Does Donald Trump blend his, what does it say? Building on his history of blending religion with public life? He goes through the motions on national prayer, breakfast, whatever day and whatever. Trump's not a religious person. Anyway, Trump emphasized that prayers, blah, blah, blah. Reactions on social media were mixed, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so Caroline Levitt puts this, President Trump, to call on Americans to pray for the nation on as 250th birthday approaches, one nation under God. Okay, and there's several articles on this. Some people are posting the Fox News article, but I had to do my daily Krasenstein, and actually this is kind of a double whammy today because there's a couple, but here's one of them. When I saw this, well, here, let me show you the Fox News story first, because then I'll get you to Krasenstein. So the headline, now let's go from the headline. Again, Trump calls on Americans to pray for nation as 250th birthday approaches, one nation under God. Now, the three major religions in the United States, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which is kind of back there somewhere, and even the other, all the sects of Christianity and even the Mormons, are all Abrahamic religions. Okay, we all basically have the same one God. We just have different versions of how we're going to deal with that God and how that God will deal with us. But it is the same God that the founders generally prayed to or for, and so so that right now. Which Krasenstein? Oh, Ed Krasenstein. Ed Krasenstein, the better looking of the two ugly twin brothers, whatever, post this, replying to the press secretary of the United States of America, who says, one nation under many gods and religions, ideas and theories. Ed Krasenstein is the guy who will go to a party and take a shit in the punch bowl. That's all I have to say. He just will go take a giant square duker right in the punch bowl. Okay? Did he really need to inject that? Was that necessary? Or just be contrary to be contrary? You stupid piece of shit. Holy fuck. And look, those of you who don't believe in God, that's fine too. We agree. Okay? Well, I don't agree, but I'm fine with that. But the point that Donald Trump is making is that we want to have a good, if you're atheist, we want to have good thoughts of national unity, which, it's going to be hard because, anything that Trump says, there are certain people who are going to say the opposite. There's a whole article about that today, by the way. All right. So anyway, that's all that I have to say about that. Brian Krasenstein is an asshat, which we probably already knew. Now let's talk about some stuff that was happening over the weekend. Holy shit. What the hell is that? Oh my God. Oh my God. So many of you probably already saw the baseball Karen lady at the Phillies game over the week. Like it must have been Friday. What day was that? 6th? Today's 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th. Yeah, it was Friday night. The Philadelphia Phillies had a game against the Miami Marlins, which used to be the Florida Marlins. Now they moved them to Miami. Okay, anyway. This woman, there was a home run hit. And let me see. I want to show the whole thing though. Anyway, the home run was hit, and this dad runs over, and he goes across a bunch of empty seats in the stands, grabs the home run ball, and goes over and gives it to his son, right? And then this lady right here. Oh, wait a minute. I got to show you I'm sure you've all seen this. This lady who has Karen trending comes over and gets mad, saying, "Hey, you got that from where I was sitting," scared the shit out of the guy, and starts screaming at him, and so he ends up giving the ball to her in front of the crowd. The whole crowd is watching this, by the way, because it's playing on the jumbotron, right? He grabbed it off the ground in front of her. Yeah, the row up, and she's claiming, "Oh, that was mine, whatever." In baseball, whoever gets the ball gets the ball. But she came up and started screaming at the guy, and he relented and took the ball out of his son's glove on the jumbotron and ends up giving it back to her. Well, the Florida Marlins, somebody from the Florida Marlins organization saw this and brought that. Oh, by the way, this is the best video of it, though. Wait, you got to see this. This is hilarious. You got to see this full screen. Someone did this. Watch her face, because here you go. Wait for it. Oh, that's not what she looks like, but she looks like Damme. Anyway, all right. So anyway, what happened is the Florida Marlins came out. They gave him a big giant gift package, and then the Phillies invited him back in the dugouts and gave him a signed bat from one of his favorite players. And then the owner of Camping World, this big giant lots with the giant American flag, they're selling a bunch of campers and RVs and shit. Camping World, giant company, that's going to go out of business as soon as all the boomers die. Anyway, the owner of Camping World gave the kid's family, he bought World Series tickets and is going to fly them wherever the World Series is, whoever's playing, doesn't even matter. He's going to fly this family to the World Series and gave them an RV to hang out in wherever they go at the World Series. So the kid's making out like a bandit, and Karen is the poor Karen lady has Karen has Karen trending. Yeah, here's is this where he caught it? Oh no, that's a different fan. Apparently it's not the first time that she's done it. She was yelling, and in the same game she was yelling at another guy for something else. So anyway, that's why Karen's trending. Here it is. Jack But now the Jack Posobiec decided to make this about manhood. The Phillies, Karen, and the death of American manhood. Why we're losing our nation one surrender time. Because look, I'm gonna just tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm PDawg, and I'm about to get down. If that woman would have come up to me and started screaming at me about a baseball, that I got fair and square, knowing home run baseball etiquette, the fan that gets their hands on it keeps it. If she would have run up to me and started yelling at me, I'd have said, it's not my ball and it's not your ball. It's my son's ball because I gave it to him. And if you want to take it, look around you, woman. Look around, lady. Look around. Look at the Jumbotron. If you want to take it out of my son's hand in front of this entire stadium, go for it. But you might get bitch slapped. Just saying. Get out of my face. Go back to your seat and shut the fuck up. So there you go. But thanks to that, Karen, that whole family makes out like bandits. So anyway, but he's saying, yeah, as a kid growing up in Norristown, nothing beat a summer night at Veterans Stadium or the Vet, as we called it, with my old man. He loved taking us there. A true Philadelphia Phillies fan. And we bring my mom and little brother and family as often as we could. Dad was born in the 1950s, a true son of the city of brotherly love, tough as nails, quick with a comeback, and built like he could go toe-to-toe with any bleacher bum who looked at him sideways. We snagged seats in the upper deck, red hats on our heads, cheering for the Phillies, especially in 1993, like our lives depended on it. And they did, in a way. Those games were just baseball. They were full of ritual, of grit, where men stood their ground, families bonded over cold beer and soda, and foul balls. And I don't mean that kind. Nobody backed down from a scrap over a ball. Okay, you get the idea of the story. He's going to go on and on about it. Oh my God. They're even making fake dolls out of this lady, Karen Ball Snatcher. I'm not going to read this story. It's dull, and you can read it yourself. It's interesting, but it's dull for this show. All right, moving on. Apparently, I'm moving on. Sorry, we're done. Americans are ditching alcohol amid health and wellness surge. Nobody told me. Alcohol consumption in the United States has reached historic lows, with only 54% of adults reporting they drink, according to a recent Gallup poll. The lowest since 1939, driven by rising health awareness. Younger generations under 35 are leading the shift towards sobriety, citing benefits like improved sleep, energy, and reduced health risks. This trend, influenced by wellness priorities and non-alcoholic alternatives, challenges traditional industries and reflects a broader societal change amid economic pressures and cannabis legislation. Well, there's a wait. Oh, you forgot about that cannabis legislation. And also, this is self-reporting, whatever. Look, it doesn't surprise me. It's very expensive to drink anymore. I mean, you go to like a Twins game, it's like $13 or $14 for a freaking can of beer. You go to a bar, you go to a restaurant. Like we had one of the jazz clubs we went to in Chicago, excuse me, gotta say that properly. In Chicago, we had some appetizers and one entree that Mary Lou had, and a couple glasses of wine, and I had an old fashioned, and maybe we had some champagne or whatever. The bill was $300, and it was all booze. The food part of the bill was hardly anything, but so it's expensive to drink, and I think that's part of it too. But anyway, so yeah, people are drinking less, and it's driven by younger people not drinking as much. I'm trying to think of how young that might be though, because, well, okay, now wait. I think about this. My daughter and son-in-law don't drink. They don't drink at all. It's interesting. And my son, his wife, I mean, they drink, but they drink pretty socially. I don't know. Maybe that's true. There you go. Anyway, hey, we have a sponsor. Finally, it's a sponsor. Tyler Alexander, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Dropping a tray in the tip jar saying, P, have you ever hunted the wild North American Karen? They are able to unleash a howl that can break even the most seasoned hunter. No, if you are going to fight a Karen, you need high quality ear protection. The man did the right thing. He was unprepared. Okay, I got you. You're right on. Thank you, Tyre, for correcting me. Because, Karens are just this side of banshee sometimes. And you have to be careful. Ear protection is a very good thing to have if you're going to try to go toe-to-toe with a Karen. So there you go. All right, moving on. Now I foreshadowed the fact that I might mention the other Krasenstein, and that would be Brian Krasenstein, the uglier of the two identical twin brothers, Krasenstein. And he might be slightly shorter, but they're both under like 5'4", so at either one, they're short as fuck. I'm not knocking short guys. I'm just stature, twins. One's uglier than the other. It's a running gag that I stole from Ranting Monkey. Anyway, Brian Krasenstein made it on This is CNN. Vice President Vance was posting something about he was defending a U.S. military strike that sank a Venezuelan boat in international waters, killing 11 suspected drug traffickers linked to the Maduro regime's Cartel of the Suns. The operation targeted fentanyl precursors amid U.S. fentanyl crisis, which claims over 100,000 lives annually. As Vance frames it as essential to combat narco-terrorists. However, critics like Senator Rand Paul condemned the action as extrajudicial, sparking GOP divisions over military intervention and ethics, while supporters argue it's a necessary escalation against transnational threats. Now, me personally, it's pretty, it's kind of Obama-esque, if you ask me, droning people extrajudiciously. I have strong reservations about the way they did this, right? And the intelligence they had better have been rock solid, but it's also kind of international. That's kind of a, well, can it be an act of war? But I mean, Venezuela's not going to go to war with us. But it's, it's sketchy. There's some sketchy legality questions, right? But that's not my point here. My point is that Brian Krasenstein made it on to CNN. They had this state here, and they put up the tweets because J.D. Vance wrote something and Brian Krasenstein answered, and then it made CNN. So here it is.
Killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military.
Okay, so this is J.D. Vance, and again, there's some sketchy legal shit going on here. Are they, well, whatever. But listen, but here, then they're going to show Brian Krasenstein. Brian Krasenstein's going to get his day in the sun. Watch.
To which a dictator, Brian Krasenstein, responded, killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime.
Holy shit, Jake Tapper. Can you fucking read? That's not what he said. He can't even read the damn screen. Listen, this is what Brian Krasenstein said in this tweet. Killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. God, Tapper, get it right. Anyway, moving on. And then J.D. Vance replied.
Then J.D. Vance responded, quote, I don't give a shit what you call it.
I don't give a shit what you call it. Oh, snap. Because Brian Krasenstein's an annoying little fuck. But anyway, so they talked about it, and I also mentioned Scott Jennings today because I think Scott Jennings is going to talk about this a little bit. So here's Scott Jennings talking about this. We got the two Krasensteins and Scott Jennings in one segment.
Scott Jennings, thoughts?
Well, I'll give you my political view of how I think most Americans are going to view it, most Republicans certainly, and that is that societal decline is a choice. And when you let people come into the country by the millions, when you let drugs flow over the border and you just say, well, let's just get them here and then see how the bureaucracy sorts it out, most people want a more aggressive response. Societal decline is a choice, and they see this illegal immigration problem and this drug flow problem as part of overall societal decline, and they are hoping and looking for and happy with Trump and Vance taking a muscular response to this. These are trends.
See, now, again, I heard about that, and all I was saying is, boy, God, they better be right. They better not find out that that was just, you know, obviously, I was going to say a family drinking beer out of the pontoon on Lake Minnetonka, but that's not what it was. It was clearly out in the ocean shit. Not losing any sleep over it. I'm not losing sleep over it, but I'm wary of it, let's just say. Because remember, every time a president does something, the next president can do something similar. And and again, like, you know, all these executive orders, Donald Trump's just following the lead of the presidents before him. But I don't want necessarily the president to be an all-powerful entity in this country. We always want to avoid that. So but is it within his job, within his purview as president of the United States? I'm saying yes, with some reservations that they better have it right. You know, the good example is when the Biden administration was it over in Afghanistan, and they sent a missile at that van of people that they thought were terrorists, and it ended up being some family. And we had the rightly gave him very strong criticism of that. That's my only reservation about it. But let Scott finish, and then we're going to move on.
Transnational terrorist organizations. We have to stop thinking of these people like they are just jaywalkers. They're not.
They're not. Yeah. The whole crossing our border illegally is just a crime. It's just like jaywalking. It's a civil offense. No, it's a criminal offense. We've gone through that many times here. But and if anyone hears this by accident and wants to argue with me, please try me. I know the law up and down because I've read it up and down multiple times. I know exactly how it works. Anyway.
If Middle Eastern terrorists were on a boat trying to come into the United States with materials that would kill hundreds of thousands or millions of people, we would bomb them into the Stone Age or to the bottom of the ocean, which is what we did with this boat. We have to think of them that way. They are terrorists. They're coming to terrorize our communities, kill our children, and create societal decline in the United States. That is what we have to reframe our thinking on them.
Well, let me ask you this. There was a time during the Biden administration's chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan where people thought they had intelligence on an Afghan van or truck, and
he said the same thing. I should have watched this first.
Family. I mean, that is the difference between summary execution by the military and extraditing.
Yeah, how many of y'all, Democrats and reporters like Jake Tapper, were criticizing that? Oh, it's just some collateral damage. I don't remember the outrage from the left on that. But anyway, that's curious.
And arresting. So while there's no reason that I know of as of now to think this was anything other than what the Trump administration says it was, it is always possible that the best men and women on the job might make a mistake, and you can't take it back when it's an execution.
It is possible. But at the same time, if you have faith in the military and faith in our intelligence services and faith in the people running.
Oh no, Resolute Jim, this was not a submarine. It was one of those high-powered long cigar boat type things. No, it wasn't a submarine. But anyway,
running them, and I do. Then you have to trust that when they say, "Look, here comes a boatload of drug dealers who are coming to terrorize our."
Okay, I don't want to get in the habit of always trusting the government. Sorry. So just FYI, I'm not always have to trust. Because if I have to trust them, I have to trust James Clapper. I have to trust John Brennan. I have to trust whatever the other tall fuckstick dude was. So no, I don't have to trust anything. I will trust or verify and make sure they got it right. So Scott, I'm not trusting them. Because we had General Powell said there were some weapons of mass destruction over there in Iran or Iraq, whatever the fuck it was. So there you go. Trust but verify. Yes, trust but verify. So anyway, all right. So that's the Krasenstein Scott Jennings moment. I got to get to the main topic. Oh, Chris Christie's trending because he criticized Trump, and he's criticizing RFK Jr. Here's Chris. I almost said Crisco. Chris Christie. Hello, Bookwormatic. What's up?
So I want to know, you think Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the best man to be leading public health? No. Answer the question.
It's not my decision.
No. You're supporting this decision. You're supporting this
decision. I support his decision.
You just called him a humble, qualified man. So you think he's the best person to lead public health in this country? I think he's the best person. He's a joke.
Okay, so Chris Christie is not happy with that. So there was a big hearing over the weekend. Robert Kennedy Jr. was in front of a bunch of senators, and he got into some verbal back and forth with some senators, right? And so that some people are saying, "Oh, RFK kicked their asses," and then some are saying, "Well, these senators put him in his place, and he needs to resign," right? And they're fighting over how much influence the pharmaceutical companies have within the government. The pharmaceutical companies had a lot of influence on who gets appointed to certain positions that are monitoring the pharmaceutical companies. And RFK Kennedy Jr. is like, no. We need people who are not connected to you assholes because we want to have independent verification of some of the shit you do. And that was the big back and forth, right? So Chris Christie on This Week in ABC is talking about how Robert Kennedy Jr. Not qualified to be in that position of health, to which many people have pointed out, and in some ways rightly so. Chris Christie talking about health is peak comedy when you look at Chris Christie versus RFK Jr. Lots of people showing Chris Christie in his peak health. Now, I don't mean to fat shame him. Again, Chris Christie, RFK Jr., Chris Christie, RFK Jr. So lots of people comparing the health potential of Chris Christie versus RFK Jr. So if you want to read the rest of the stuff about that, you can do that on your own, but I found it fascinating. All right, let's see. Last couple things before I get to the main topic. Let's see. Chicago. Oh, Chicago. I was in Chicago, as you know, over a long weekend. Banks, what's up, Banks? How you doing? I was in Chicago over the weekend, and I had a lovely time. Okay, we stayed in Naperville, Illinois. Naperville is a suburb, a western suburb, which is a lovely little. Well, we stayed in Lisle. Lisle and Naperville are two different towns that are basically border each other. We spent the one day hanging out in Naperville. Naperville has this little river running through it, and they have this river walk area. It's really nice, and my mother-in-law loved it. Some nice shops. Has a little historic downtown, and we roamed around, bought some spices at a spice shop, and had some ice cream and whatever. We had a nice breakfast at this place called, oh, speaking of which, today's coffee is from Egg Harbor, which is the restaurant we went to in Naperville, Illinois. And then we went some time in downtown Chicago the next day. We went to a couple jazz clubs, really nice time, great fun. And I got some shots at Trump Tower. When I was leaving Chicago yesterday, we hadn't gone by Trump Tower because my mother-in-law is way anti-Trump, which is fine. I don't, love her to death. Doesn't matter. We're family. But she just despises Donald Trump. And so on the way out of town, I dropped them. They took the train. They took Amtrak from Minneapolis, and I drove. Because my mother-in-law loves riding on trains, and they got a private car or private whatever they call them. It's not a fully private car, but they got a one of those sleeper rooms, whatever, and rode the train. And I dropped them off at the train as we were going to leave Chicago, and then I drove out of town. But before I left, I made sure to get photos of Trump Tower in Chicago. Beautiful building. I didn't realize how beautiful that Trump hotel and whatever in Chicago is. Beautiful building. Right on the waterfront, right on the Chicago River. Beautiful plaza around there and stuff. So I drove down there and took some pictures of Trump Tower and texted them to my wife back, where I left him at the train station. And I can't call her my grandma-in-law. She's not grandma. She's my mother-in-law. She's my wife's mother. Anyway, and I sent it back to her. My wife sends me back a picture of my mother-in-law flipping me off, which is, I laughed. It was hilarious. But apparently, I was there a mere 2 hours before the big protest in Chicago yesterday. There was a big protest parade in Chicago yesterday, in Chicago, and I thought it was, I wish I had stayed longer because I really wanted to see it in person. Now, what was funny to me about this is there's an account on X called Democratic Wins Media. And they posted this. Breaking. An enormous protest has broken out spontaneously in... Oh, no, this was in D.C. There was one in Chicago. This is the D.C. protest. Excuse me. Sorry. I'll come back to the Chicago protest. An enormous protest has broken out spontaneously in D.C. against Donald Trump's militarization of the city. This is how you fight back, which I thought was funny because as you look at this, here, let me go back to the slides here. As you look at this protest in D.C., you notice that they have all these professionally pre-printed signs. And also, there's a schedule, and they had... Actually, this has been planned for weeks. So, anyway, that happened in D.C. Well, there was also one in Chicago. Before I left Chicago, I'll put this back. I don't need this. 2 hours after I was there. And I wish I would have been there. I've always wanted to be around one of these protests where I can ask people questions, like take video, interview people. And I feel a little cheated that I didn't get to go. So, anyway, here's so in Chicago, they also had a big protest. Let me scroll down here. Where is it? Here it is. People in Chicago are protesting to keep crime out of control. That's just wrong. So they were down in down south Chicago.
This administration has waged war on anybody.
Now notice again, this. Now I don't know if anyone called this one a spontaneous protest because there's an awful lot of professionally printed signs for a spontaneous protest.
It's a threat to white supremacy. As we stand in this moment today, fighting for our loved ones,
you're fighting to keep crime in control.
Standing in a moment where we are fighting about whether justice.
Now, there's pictures of them going in front of Trump Tower on this protest. I can't find it. Oh, is this it right here? Maybe this is it. Yeah, here it is. So this is, I'll show you as soon as they... Oh, they took this from the building next to the Trump Tower. So these are all the people protesting out there yesterday, and I'm glad... Well, in a way, I'm glad I missed it because it would have taken me a lot longer to get out of town. So, anyway, so Trump is trolling Chicago. Trump trolls Illinois politicians and critics with iconic war film footage. Shypocalypse now. He's such a child sometimes, but you can't help but laugh. President Donald Trump evoked one of the most iconic battle scenes in the history of cinema in a meme Saturday and sent Democrats into various states of shell shock. On Truth Social, Trump posted an AI-generated photo of himself in the role played by actor Robert Duvall in the 1979 film Apocalypse Now, rebranding it as Shypocalypse Now, and writing, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War." So, oh my gosh, they all lost their minds saying Donald Trump's threatening to go to war with the city of Chicago. To which Governor J.B. Prickster said the President of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city. This is not a joke. This is not normal. Donald Trump isn't a strong man. He's a scared man. Illinois won't be intimidated by a wannabe dictator. And I look, as humorous as I find it, it's like he just likes to do those little pinpricks on these motherfuckers, which is appropriate for J.B. Prickster. Anyway, so And then Mayor Brandon Johnson, the president threats are beneath the honor of our nation, but the reality is he wants to occupy our city and break our Constitution. We must defend our democracy from this authoritarianism by protecting each other and protecting Chicago from Trump. Now, what's interesting, and I saw this in person while I was in Chicago. We were down by Millennium Park, they call it, where they call it the Bean. It's a giant mirror sculpture of a cloud, and there's a beautiful plaza there and beautiful gardens and shit in downtown Chicago. But I noticed there was this one street we drove down, that had a whole ton of like salt trucks, like winter salt trucks, like garbage. They look like dump trucks with salt spreaders on them. And I was like, well, what the hell is that? And apparently the mayor is getting all the snow plow equipment out to block off some streets and stuff if ice shows up. Now I'm like, dude, that's some serious obstruction that there's probably a reason you might be able to be arrested for that shit. So anyway, all right, I'm going to skip a couple things and get to the main topic because I call this topic a perfect storm. And as I named in the name of the title of the stream today, a perfect storm. I can't read that. Something about silence, right? Because this incident happened on August 22nd. That it's getting a lot of play on Twitter and X, whatever, but almost no play in the news. And it's really weird. It's really weird. So on August 22nd, and you'll understand why I say it's a perfect storm. What should have been a perfect storm for liberals to be rallying about this, right? Because I'm going to give you the details just that are in the X summary. On August 22nd, 2025, 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska was fatally stabbed in an unprovoked attack on Charlotte's Lynx Blue train line by DeCarlos Brown Jr., a 36-year-old homeless man with 14 prior arrests. Despite fleeing war-torn Ukraine for safety, Zarutska's death has ignited national debates over judicial leniency, urban crime, and media bias, with critics targeting Charlotte Mayor V. Lyles for emphasizing compassion over accountability. Social media erupted with outrage, leading to calls for legislative changes and federal intervention, exposing flaws in America's safety nets. Now, thank you, Avocados Diablo, for sponsoring the show. Who says a whole lot of Dems channeling their inner George Wallace and fighting the NG being used to enforce federal law lately. Yeah, I know. It's funny because how often they use the National Guard in other protests in the years, and this is actually doing something to help people, not hurt people. But whatever. Back to this story though, and the fact that we're really just starting to hear about it over the last couple days. So first of all, there's a whole lot of things going on here. First of all, you would think the fact that this woman is a Ukrainian refugee, here because of war in torn Ukraine. You'd think there'd be Ukrainian flags everywhere in everyone's bios. Everybody putting, sympathy for this Ukrainian woman, Ukrainian refugee. She's Ukrainian, and she's a refugee, and she's an immigrant, ended by an American. But why did this not get national coverage? Now, I hate to say it because sometimes when, crimes, there's that, what do they call it? They used to call it the stack, the oppression stack. And apparently the Ukrainian refugee is higher on the Ukrainian, or lower on the Ukrainian stack, or the oppression stack than a homeless brother who's been let go by judges 14 times. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Chicago Mike, what's up? Good morning, sir. Welcome. With 5 spot in the tip jar, I says, sorry, Marty, I'm several minutes behind. I'm from Naperville and went to high school from Naperville North. Oh, hope you enjoyed the Riverwalk. I loved it, man. I didn't know you're from Naperville. Yeah. Oh, well, let's see. Depending on how old you, what was Cheryl's? Oh shoot, I can't remember Cheryl's maiden name. One of my best friends from college, she grew up in Naperville and they lived there for the last 15 years. But it's Cheryl Brand. I don't remember her maiden name though. Anyway, she went to Drake with me. Anyway, they live in Nashville now. So anyway, cool. I loved Riverwalk. Downtown Naperville is just it's a nice little town. A few of the old buildings, we were checking out those. We went to some of the shops. And we spent about 45 minutes to an hour just walking along the river on the Riverwalk. Even though there's some construction going on there, it was really lovely. So thank you for the donation there, Mike. Appreciate you. Okay, so back to this lady. Perfect storm. She's Ukrainian. She's a refugee. She's an immigrant. I mean, those are the buzzwords to be like, oh my God, because when the people on the right emphasize when an immigrant does a crime, a murder, or unwanted sexual activities, they're all up in arms. Oh, you're just being xenophobic, this and that and that. Well, this is an immigrant who got X'd out, so to speak. And nothing. It's none of we're talking about. So now all of a sudden, people are right. Go, wait a minute. Here's an example. The media silence on Irina Zarutska's murder is one of the most disgusting acts of lying by omission I've ever seen from the people who gave you the Daniel Kennedy wall-to-wall negative coverage and the BLM moral panic. It's true what they say. You don't hate the media enough. No, you don't. 0 stories from the AP, 0 stories from PBS, 0 stories from the New York Times, 0 stories from NPR, 0 stories from the Wall Street Journal, 0 stories from CNN, BBC, WAPO, Washington Post, Reuters, MSNBC. None of them reported on this. None of them reported on this. Now, Boyce Watkins asks, what attack is this? Please provide context. It looks terrible, but I'd like to understand what happened here. Also, if you talk about black people going after white people, you should also talk about the hundreds of years we were having our balls cut off by your people. Bitch, we talk about that all the time. That has nothing to do with what's happening right now. It's a live story that should have been in the news. If perchance someone was cutting my balls off right now in this day and age, well, yes, I would be concerned. And maybe that'd be a national story, but welcome to the reality of the moment. Linear time, bitch. I get it. Slavery fucking sucked. Everyone knows it. Everyone in the world knows it. Remember, we're one of the countries who ended it. It sucked that it happened here too, but it wasn't new. Funny, people always say America's original sin. No, slavery was America's unoriginal sin. We were just copying what everyone else in the world was doing. And what other people had been through, regardless of your race. There was some ancestor of yours that was a slave in history. Doesn't matter where you're from or what race you are. So America's unoriginal sin. In fact, we didn't even take the most slaves from the transatlantic slave trade. That honor went to Brazil. The trans-Saharan slave trade was almost double what the transatlantic slave trade was. That's why I can't get worked up about reparations. My great-grandfather in my adoptive family was born a slave. And the Civil War ended when he was like 6 years old. And he ended up being taken north and he ended up being adopted by another family. And he died owning a 180-acre farm in the middle of Iowa. Because this is a country that ended slavery. Now, has our country been perfect? No. We've had lots of problems. Nobody's saying we haven't. But when you talk about a unprovoked, just straight up murder, and you start going, well, what about something that never happened to me? You're not a serious fucking person. Oh my God, Boyce. And I like Boyce Watkins. I think he's very smart on many things, but that may be the dumbest shit I ever heard. How does that fucking relate? Oh my God. Yeah, all these stories about Maryland, man, but this literally unprovoked murder stabs her in her neck and she dies on the bus and he walks out. So anyway, unbelievable. So anyway, and look, and finally, so no one's reporting on this. Where is it? I'm going to make this a separate thing. So finally, somebody reports on it on the 8th. This shit happened on August 22nd. Finally, some large media outlet reports it on the 8th. And here's what they write. Grisly Charlotte stabbing video fuels MAGA's crime message. You get a Republicans pounce article on it. They unfucking believable. That's the article you get. They're reporting on how people are reacting to a murder, not the murder itself. Holy shit, these people are terrible. And so now, look, so there's two stories in there. One, the fact that the media hasn't really reported on it much. And it's finally getting around social media, right? And for some reason, the video was released and it's not pretty. I'm not showing that on here, if that's for fucking sure. But also the fact that this person that committed the crime has been let out of jail many times. On August 22nd, the 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Irina Zaruska was brutally stabbed to death in Charlotte light rail system. Oh, the light rail by Carlos Brown, a 35-year-old man with over a dozen prior arrests for violent crimes. Despite his history of felonies and mental health issues, Brown has been repeatedly released by judges, fueling outrage over judicial accountability and urban safety failures in America. As social media amplifies calls for reform, and former President Donald... Again, Grok keeps saying former President Donald Trump. He's the president now, Grok. Figure it out. Vows to investigate the tragedy, exposes deep flaws in the system that allowed this preventable horror. So lots of people weighing in on it. And a lot of people are pointing out the last few judges that let this shitbag out. Also, there is a congressman, I believe, Representative Randy Fine, will introduce legislation to hold judges accountable when violent repeat offenders they release commit new crimes following the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte. Now, and look, there's going to be some people saying, oh, it's racism because it's a white blonde woman. And this shit's happens all the time in, for lack of a better term, our neighborhoods, even though I don't live in the hood. Yeah, well, if something's going to bring attention to it, because certainly the murder rate in our hoods is much higher than it is in the suburbs. So yeah, bring attention. Why are we letting criminals out to repeat crimes, especially violent crimes? So this guy says he's going to offer legislation to hold judges accountable who do this over and over. He says, I'm going to introduce legislation to hold judges accountable when violent repeat offenders they release commit new crimes. It's easy to release criminals when you're protected by an armed bailiff at all times. The rest of us aren't so lucky. Those 12 plus judges that released to Carlos Brown should have their day in court too, or at least be sanctioned. There has to be something. I don't know how you can do that. I don't know if you can do anything to judges. We call the monster who... Oh, this is Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to quote Charlie Kirk. I don't want to listen to him. Breaking. It's been revealed that the same judge who last released DeCarlos Brown Jr., Magistrate Judge Teresa Stokes, is also the director of operations at a treatment facility in Charlotte. Is it starting to make sense yet? Did she require him to go to treatment? And he ended up going to a treatment center she owned? That sounds like a conflict of interest. But regardless, why are we letting violent criminals just continue to walk the street? Now, the only thing this crime was missing, and maybe that's why the left didn't make a peep about it. There's no AR-15. This was a knife. And are we going to have common sense knife reform? Now, North Carolina politicians, because this happened in Charlotte, are scrambling after the video shows repeat offender stabbing Ukrainian refugee on a train. By the way, there's a GoFundMe set up for her family, a GoFundMe set up for her family. There was also a GoFundMe set up for the perpetrator that apparently had raised $44,000 before it got shut down. In a GoFundMe set up for her family, 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska was described as someone who had recently arrived in the United States seeking safety from war and hoping for a new beginning. Sadly, she would not get that chance. Zarutska boarded a Charlotte, North Carolina light rail system on Friday, August 22nd, just before 10 p.m. after her shift at a local pizza restaurant. And 4 minutes later, she was stabbed to death in what police say was a random attack, allegedly by a violent repeat offender who is well known to law enforcement. Though the case has gotten plenty of local coverage in the Charlotte area, it hasn't received much national media attention. That is likely to change with the Friday release from CATS, Charlotte Area Transit System, of a video from the train at the time of the violent crime. The footage shows suspect 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr. in the moments leading up to the murder, Zarutska boarding the train and sitting down and directly in front of him, completely oblivious, of course, to what was about to happen. And in the moments after, where he's seen walking to a train exit with blood dripping, presumably from the knife. Out of respect for the family, the full video has not been shown to the public, but some Charlotte media outlets have released snippets, and the sheer senselessness and randomness of it just leave you shocked and speechless, which there's clips of that in these links. I'm not playing them. WSCOC TV reporter Joe Bruno watched the full unedited clip and pointed out that it should be noted that there were several heroic passengers who rushed to Zarutska's aid. We saw one man take the shirt off his back and attempt CPR. It's hard to tell in the longer clip, which admittedly is choppy until towards the end. The CATS, which is the transit system chief safety and security officer, told WSOC TV, quote, "This individual was sitting down for all intents and purposes, looked like he was just having a normal train ride. There was nothing about his demeanor. He wasn't sweating. He wasn't talking to himself. He wasn't interfacing in a manner that would have triggered attention to him that he was about to do a heinous act. And then all of a sudden you see his face change. He commits the act and it's in a split second." Some reports have noted that there were security officers on the light rail that night, but not in the car where Zarutska was murdered. They were riding in the car directly ahead. Just days after Zarutska's murder, as more was being learned about both her and the suspect, this reporter wrote at the time how there were similarities between this case and the case of Jordan Neely, who we all know had mental health issues and a history of run-ins with law enforcement in New York City before a May 2023 subway incident where passengers, including Daniel Pitty, subdued Neely after he was said to have acted threateningly towards other passengers. Neely was later pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Like Neely, Brown was a repeat offender. Like Neely, Brown had a history of mental health issues that went unchecked. This was despite pleas from his mother and despite police officers repeatedly recommending that he take advantage of local resources. Like Neely, Brown was homeless. And like Neely, conditions on the ground in Democrat-run Charlotte enabled him to be on the streets to victimize others, with Zarutska tragically paying the ultimate price. In the immediate aftermath of the crime, the locals were struck by how little had been said about it by law enforcement and city officials. Yeah, no, they didn't talk about it. Usually after high-profile random crimes, we see CMPD give press conferences providing more clarity and info. I'm still scratching my head at why one wasn't not done for this too. I mean, you know that they'd be doing press conferences if certain demographic issues were changed. But again, who is priority here? Again, we have the Ukrainian immigrant. Where are all the Ukraine flags? Where are all the Ukraine flags for this woman? Every bio on lefty Twitter should be flying Ukraine flags at half-mast on behalf of this poor Ukrainian refugee immigrant who got murdered by an American. Whoa, it's a brother? Yeah, hold off on that a minute. Now, when that time came, it was Charlotte. Wait, you got to hear this. It was Charlotte Mayor V. Lyles, Democrat, who issued a statement spending one whole sentence on the victim before spending several paragraphs talking about mental health and homelessness and how the homeless shouldn't be stigmatized. Oh my gosh, please don't. Please let's not have a backlash against those Muslim terrorists, the Muslims who are just innocent victims of the Muslim terrorist who blew up a building. Please don't stigmatize the homeless and mentally unstable who've had many run-ins with the police, because this one homeless guy with many run-ins with the police and murdered somebody. Don't stigmatize the homeless. Ma'am, there's a victim in this crime. It's not the guy who did the crime or anyone related to the crime. The victim's the dead lady over there. She's dead. He's I don't know where the hell he is. She's dead. Quote. Wait, let me see if I can find the video of this stupid ass mayor. Where is it? I know I had it here. Hang on a second. Where's the mayor? Charlotte mayor uses brutal train murder to lecture about mental health resources. Oh, there's no video. This is one of those damn Daily Wire articles. Sorry. Anyway, here's what she said. Hello, Ms. Wild Wolf. We will never arrest our way out of issues such as homelessness and mental health, she wrote. And for good measure, she had also, those who are unhoused are more frequently the victim of crimes and not the perpetrators. Well, not in this case, biatch! Lyles, who's up for re-election this fall, took a lot of heat for putting out a soft on-crime statement that focused more on homelessness and mental health than so little on the victim. Predictably, what we're hearing from the Democratic run city council, who are also up for re-election, and Democratic candidates for offices continues to revolve around so-called issues like equity, social justice, and affordable housing. But this woman's dead! Few are spending as much time on citizen safety, combating crimes outside of putting out canned statements and trying to pass the buck, even amid reports that continue to pour in about how unsafe people have felt on the Charlotte transit system, including the buses, due in part to lack of ticket checks and people frequently getting on the light rail with no tickets, something that reportedly happened with Brown as well. And speaking of statements, Lyles put out another one after the release of the video, thanking the media outlets and community members that chose not to share it, and stating that the family needed to be respected. Whose family? The perpetrator or the victims? It was kind of rich considering she showed so little respect for the family in her initial statement, where she barely gave Zaruska a mention. The video of the heartbreaking attack that took Irina Zaruska's life is now public. I want to thank our media partners and community members who have chosen not to repost or share the footage out of respect for Irina's family. This was a senseless, tragic loss. My prayers remain with her loved ones as they continue to grieve through an unimaginable time. Like so many of you, I'm heartbroken. I've been thinking hard about what safety really looks like in our city. I remain committed to doing all we can to protect our residents and ensure Charlotte is a place where everyone feels safe. Good for you, Mayor. I bet if it had been an AR-15, I'm still debating who would have gotten the most sympathy, the perp or the victim. So, anyway, lots of people are writing about this, and this PJ Media article sums it up. The image that killed the Democrats in 2026 and beyond. It's just like that. It's over for Democrats in 2026 midterms, maybe even the 2028 general election. I'm not convinced of that, but we'll see. They have about a 13% approval rating, Democrats do right now. And this is just a symptom of left-wing political dogma and policies. You know? Well, we must reform the criminal. We must give them a chance, especially when it comes to equity and diversity and equity inclusion. Because, you know, when we have equity, we have to put the same amount of one demographic in jail as the others, and we can't force too many people of one demographic to be in jail, even if they're prone to violent crime, and they've demonstrated it 14 fucking times. I'm okay if you put the brother away after he's committed 14 violent crimes. Skinfolk ain't kinfolk sometimes. Holy fuck. Anyway, there's editorials about it in the New York Post. Articles, established media outlets criticized for not covering the North Carolina train stabbing. Senator Cruz, Elon Musk, the president of El Salvador all chimed in this article. You can read those articles yourself. I'm gonna leave them here. Daily Wire. We'll see if we can get an archive version of whatever that was, but you know, they're a pain in my ass right now. Let's see if anybody already archived it. Okay, I'm not a robot. And invalid URL. You motherfuckers. Come on. Let's go back. Let's try it again. Copy. Paste. And nobody archived that article yet. Okay, we'll see if it happens by the end of the show. All right. I was going to do some odds and ends headlines, but apparently I'm out of time. There is one thing, though, I do want to bring to your attention that I hope you will watch. It'll be in the links today. Hello, number one. Mark Halperin. We the Normal, the real reason why Donald Trump keeps winning, according to Mark Halperin's friend. It's a good video. It's 6 minutes long. I don't have time to play it, but it's in the links today. I highly encourage you to enjoy it, so to speak. And that's it. I got to, what is this? Oh, that's that stupidity there. I'll move that over, and then we're going to drop the links. I don't have time to do any more. I wish I did. I have several articles I wanted to get to, but the whole Charlotte thing's got me pissed off. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. I'm going to drop these links. I'm trying. I'm killing time to drop the links. There we go. Come on, baby. There we go. All right, here's today's links. There's lots of stuff in there that I highly recommend. Today's links. Boom, they're in the chat. I'll be in the description. That's it. I got to go. Thank you for joining me on the Morning Night Live. Whoops, what the hell? There we go. Thank you. I got to go. My name's PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a lovely day. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.